that was a great piece that Hamil did, and thank you and the Washington Informer for commemorating the 25th anniversary of the Million Man March.
It's one of those things that you realize, boy, how time has flown. And when we did the math, we're like, wow, 25th anniversary. Why do you think that folks aren't memorializing this event? I mean, and you were right there in the front line. You were the organizer of this march. 1 million men peacefully collected on or gathered on the steps of the U.S. Congress, made a pledge. To me, that was a really historic event. What is your feeling about how we got here today? And
sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think that just as a point of history, on October the 16th, 1995, it was the largest single gathering of Black men in the history of the world, not just in the history of America, but nothing like that had ever taken place anywhere in the world. And we're all very proud. So now it's 25 years later. Black lives still matter. Black lives mattered in 1995. Black lives matter in 2020. We still have to work on the problem of black on black crime, the fratricide that goes on not only in Washington, D.C., but in other cities. So we got to work on ending the violence. I'm talking about the violence that we do to each other. Keep in mind, the Million Man March was brought about because we needed to atone. We needed to have more unity in our community, more working together, and we needed to stop the violence. That was a primary reason for the march. And on that day, Denise, 25 years ago, black on black crime in Washington, D.C., in Baltimore, in Philly, in New York, in Houston, in Los Angeles, and Chicago, all across the country, went to zero. There was no black on black crime that day. So we showed that we can do it for one day. The challenge is how to keep violence out of our community every day. The challenge is how to make sure that we register to vote. 25 years ago, we registered 250,000 people to vote on a single day at the Million Man March. And now we face an election that's coming up in less than 20 days. And some people are still arguing about whether or not their vote counts or whether or not they should vote. We have to vote. This is the most consequential election in our lifetime. And black votes, all of the sacrifices, all of the struggles. And of course, you know, we have forces that are trying to erode voting rights. There's voter suppression going on. You've seen all the long lines of people trying to vote, even today in doing early voting. So I would say that the spirit of the Million Man March that Hamil referred to, the spirit of the Million Man March that was present that day 25 years ago, is still alive. But we're dispersed because of COVID-19. There wasn't a large gathering this year to commemorate the 25th anniversary. But there are virtual events going on all this week. I've been involved. I'm going to be in another one this evening. So using technology, using the digital space as well as the internet space, people are commemorating. Keep in mind, there are a lot of young brothers and sisters who weren't even born 25 years ago. Exactly. So they're learning about the Million Man March. And that really salute the Washington Informer for keeping our community informed, not only on the milestones of the past, but how we can learn from our past, how we can learn from Black history. And particularly, we still need many lessons that we should learn about grassroots organizing, the value of grassroots organizing from the Million Man March perspective. That's why a million Black, it actually was almost 2 million that actually came. There's a dispute about the numbers, but we know we met the goal, we exceeded the goal on that day. Everybody assembled safely, had an impact, took the pledge that Hamil referenced in the video clip earlier. And a lot of those brothers went back and followed that pledge. Even today, I meet young people, older people, middle-aged people who were impacted by the Million Man March. And many still say in 2020 that 25 years ago, their lives were changed forever. Their lives were transformed ongoingly as a result of the Million Man March.
I think it's always interesting when you bring it up to people and they all of a sudden start remembering that particular day. But speaking of voting, you're going to be participating in this event that the Word in Black and some of the NNPA publishers are going to have on Tuesday evening. And it's about voting with a purpose. And so expound on that, at least in your opinion, what you think that means. I mean, we're not only voting for or against an individual, but we're voting for a purpose. What
Right.
does that
Well,
mean?
for Black people, voting is just not a right; it's a responsibility. It's a sacred responsibility. A lot of people were lynched, murdered, homes burned, churches burned, people spending time in jail, being assaulted. John Lewis had many brain concussions and beaten in the head as a result of getting the right to vote, the Voting Rights Act and the Selma March. So I think that, yes, we have to vote for a purpose, but that purpose is just not on election day. That purpose is 365 days a year. Every day should be Black History Month Day. Every day should be a consciousness among our people of the importance of vote because of the price of the vote that has already been paid. And we have a responsibility in 2020 to go out and vote. So we're going to be discussing that purpose, that legacy, and our future on Tuesday. And I thank the 10 Black-owned newspapers that are sponsoring it, along with other organizations. And I think as well, Word Black is that the title. Denise, and I'll be with Bakari Sellers and many others on the program. Looking forward to it.
Right, and the last thing, because I'm getting that time signal, and I know you need to go. But as you know, we are celebrating our 56th anniversary. There are not a lot of folks, like you said, who remember the Million Man March. Not a lot of folks who really knew my dad. And
yes.
You and he were,
we were comrades in the struggle. We were more than friends. We were comrades. Calvin Rollout was a freedom fighter par excellence, and a lot of us not only admired your father, Denise, but worked with your father hand in hand. We had a lot of street combat fighting the forces of racism in D.C. and in Maryland and Northern Virginia. The Washington Former was always known as that one newspaper that would not only print the truth, but advocate for the truth. And of course, you're still continuing that tradition. And we salute the 56th anniversary of the Washington Informer.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chavis. And we appreciate you being with us, and have a great day.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Where did you come to get